Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. We are virtual only. We're based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. Phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology. So basically, eschatos is the study of the end. Ology would be, obviously the study of it. And what you need to know, your reality, our existence, what's going on in the world. We study a little piece of Revelation, and that would be Revelation 13 and 19 this week. We're going to try to solve some pieces. I have not talked about the false prophet since 2021, which is amazing. And the signs are finally increasing. So maybe we'll see, a fish or cut bait situation where the Pope Francis will finally become the false prophet. We'll be dealing with Mary, green issues, UFOs, signs, all sorts of things. We'll deal with it, and we'll see what you think of how I cover this. Okay, so the main thing is Pope Francis has been quiet for years, but now he's starting to make waves. And even LifeSite, which is a Catholic publication, is saying something's wrong here. Breaking: Pope Francis: every religion is a way to arrive at God. Pope Francis told young people in Singapore that being Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, Christian are just different paths to every religion is a way to God. That's not the case. Okay, it's a way to paganism or false worship, but it's not a way to God. So, once again, this is Michael Haynes, and he's a wonderful guy, too. He's a Roman Catholic. He's been writing on this for years, down below there. And then on the right-hand side, I'm saying fish or cut bait. He either is the false prophet or not, based on prophecies, based on the fact that he's been quiet really since 2021. So this is Singapore again. He's mentioning that you can believe in all these things and have different paths to God. And I would argue UFOs in there too. So, notwithstanding any comments to the contrary, the Catholic Church has consistently and clearly taught that it is the one true church, the body of Christ, Ephesians 1:22, and it exercises the charge given by Christ to spread the gospel to all the nations and to bring souls into the church. I would disagree with them, but this is LifeSite. They're going to cite it that way, which is their doctrine. But you know what? Okay, so let's cover it real quick. I have problems with Pope Francis and a few of his leaders, but I don't have problems with the regular Catholics in the pews. They're nice people. They just want to love Jesus and go to heaven. That's it, But the Pope has another deal going. So all roads lead to the false prophet, to Rome, but it's really the false prophet that's running the show right now. This is from Chick Publications, and so their comment is very interesting. The Pope's statements are an example of syncretism. Syncretism is the practice of merging separate, distinct religions into one hybrid religion that appeals to everyone in those belief systems. So that would be leading to the false prophet. And then a Catholic priest is saying a 10-week webinar promoting Mary as a model of faith for Christianity and Islam. What you don't know, or maybe you do, is that Christianity, in terms of the Roman Catholic Church, idolizes Mary. Islam does too. She's the mother of a prophet, so she's important. So you can pull people and syncretize them easily through Mary. Okay, after working closely with the Grand Mosque of Rome and the Islamic Cultural Center of Italy, he stated that Mary is a Jewish, Christian, and Muslim woman. Syncretism. Thank you, Jack Chick, for this. Unsurprisingly, Pope Francis agrees with, an Ayatollah and Gian Roggio in May. He said Mary is a figure common in both Christianity and Islam. She is a common figure. She unites us all. Very interesting. So we are in the end of days. I don't know how far we are into it. We're trying not to twist the Bible. We'll give you prophecy, and we'll talk about the news. There's some news. So basically, the verses to start it out. When does the false prophet activate the signs? So this is from Revelation 19:20. But the beast, that's the Antichrist, was taken captive, and with it the false prophet. I believe it's Pope Francis, who in its presence had done the miracles. That's semeion in the Greek, okay? So it's some kind of miracles which he had used to deceive those who had received the mark of the beast and those who had worshipped his image. The beast and the false prophet were both thrown alive into the lake of fire that burns with sulfur. That's Revelation 19:20. And keep in mind then when I cite 2 Thessalonians 2, I'm blanking on the verse, probably 8 or 9. False miracles are called dunamis, which is in the Greek, that'd be like dynamite, okay? Signs are semeion, and wonders would be teros. So it'd be more earthly, teros being more earthly wonders. That's what the false prophet is supposed to do to help people believe in him and then move them on to the Antichrist. So I have a friend that I interviewed a few times and talked to, Rebecca Sterling. Back in 1999, she had a download from God saying that at some point in time you would have these certain players show up. And she didn't identify Pope Francis as the guy, but she, you can see in the picture there on the right-hand side that it's a pope, and he's got the cross upside down, and you've got aliens, which we call extra dimensionals. And this is when the pope allows these aliens to be noticed by human beings in Rome on what she calls the toilet bowl, which is their soccer stadium. She calls it 3 days of hell during this time frame: avalanches, blizzards, cyclones, droughts, earthquakes, epidemics, extreme heat, extreme cold, floods, hailstorms, ice storms, landslides, impacts from space, sinkholes, solar flares, tornadoes, tsunamis, volcanoes, wildfires. Yeah. And the mark of the beast, you can see what she thought it looked like. And so we seem to be getting closer to this, but the Pope needs to step forward and be what he is. So this is once again the stadium. It's the fifth of her videos. It's in oh goodness, Skid Davidson, and I'm blanking on the video name. I'm sorry. Voice Crying in the Wilderness. There you go. So I happen to believe in her. I think that she's highly accurate with the players and with this particular scene of the Antichrist being there with other people. Aliens become noticeable to humans, and the aliens try to persuade us into a system, and the Antichrist starts to rule after that. Very interesting. So if you want to watch it, it's Skid Davidson, A Voice Crying in the Wilderness, and Rebecca Sterling is the playlist. So this is from Jack Chick again, and Babylon Religion. And I tend to ask Doug Hamp these questions because he studied Babylon more than I have. But basically, the goddess Semiramis, also known as Ishtar, Astarte, Ishtareth, the original queen of heaven from Jeremiah 44:15 through 19, her son Tammuz joined her in creating the world's first mother-son cult. The cult spread to Egypt as Isis and Osiris, Venus and Adonis in Greece, and Ushas and Vishnu in Hinduism. Very similar across all of these goddess systems. Okay, so Inanna is part of it too. Doug talks about it all the time. The main thing is what Pope Francis is supposed to do is resurrect Mary and Ishtar into a worship system and unite people together with it. So he hasn't done it officially yet, but he will. It's just a matter of time. So it's Moloch, which is also in Rome. There are many idols there. There's Mary worship, which is interesting. This is from Protesti on the right-hand side. Roman Catholic teens and their tentative touch of an idol. He's right. I mean, it's really wrong here. So Pope Francis and certain Catholics are mainstreaming Mary worship and things like that. I guess I don't mind. It's bothersome to me. It is. But you don't need to worship Mary. Really, seriously, please don't. Don't pray to Mary. Please don't. And I love my Roman Catholic friends, but please don't pray to Mary. Please don't. Okay? You have Yeshua. You have your Father in heaven. That's who determines your salvation, not Mary. Okay, Vatican, clear guidelines and norms. The Vatican to publish new document on Marian apparitions next week. This is May 7th of 2024, so it's fairly recent. This is problematic. The Vatican's Doctrine Office will publish a new document this week on discerning Marian apparitions and other supernatural UFO events. The Holy See Press Office announced on Tuesday that Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, the prefect of the Doctrine of Faith, will unveil new norms for the discernment regarding apparitions and other supernatural phenomenon, because it's coming, people. They need to prep us for this, okay? And this was Friday, May 17th. I'm telling you, the Pope equals UFOs. He wants to baptize them. He wants to align us with them, and they're not. They're demons, okay? They're just demons. And they're not UFOs, they're not aliens, they're demons, okay? Now, this is interesting. This goes way back to 1917, and you had the mystery of the Queen of Heaven showing up, Mary, apparitions in Fatima, Portugal, which Fatima is named after the daughter of Muhammad. But I want you to see that this Marian apparition showed up to 3 young children in Portugal. And then on October 13th, we had the Mystery of the Sun. But anyway, the point is May 13th, June 13th, July 13th, August 13th, but the kids couldn't show up, so then the apparition showed up on the 19th of 1917 again, then September 13th, and then October 13th. A lot of 13s going on there with this particular oddity that ended up being a UFO. Okay, 70,000 people witnessed this, the UFO over Fatima honoring Mary. Okay, that was 1917. And once again, there were 6 signs where Mary showed up and said, we're going to have a big deal on October 13th. And then it showed up. Okay, and 70,000 people were there and saw it. Once again, it's the original photo of the Miracle of the Sun in Fatima, 13th of October, 1917, published by L'Osservatore Romano in 1951. It's a false Mary. It just is. It's sickening, but there's no way we can stop this. And I have very close Catholic friends, wonderful people that have been to Medjugorje and to Fatima, and I don't know. If they want to go there, that's fine. So, once again, Babylon, the Queen of Heaven, just moves her way through into other cultures, and you have to be aware of that it's in the Greek culture, the Roman culture, Semiramis, pagan goddess, Aphrodite, Venus, Artemis, Diana, whether you're Greek or Roman, and then the things that she's involved with, fertility, marriage, wife of Kronos, whatever, different names, but it just moves through into these different gods and goddesses from Babylon all the way through. And I'm going to argue right on through into UFOs as we move along down the line, because this false Mary that's going to pop up is going to try to send us towards, the UFOs, the aliens. Okay, so there's a cover-up from back on 8/2/2023, and this is the Pope of the Vatican UFO cover-up. Keep in mind, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, owns the Lucifer telescope in Mount Graham, Arizona. So, and they had John McCain get that done for them because that belonged to Native Americans, and they just took it away. So, the alien probe was launched after David Grush, who resigned from his post in April, told News Nation that the government had retrieved several non-human origin technical vehicles, some of which contained dead pilots. That is UFO talk, okay, aliens. In the same interview, he claimed that under the fascist dictator Benito Mussolini, so this is during the 40s when this occurred, the Italian government had recovered a UFO and moved it to a secure airbase in the remainder of his regime, which ended with the Allied occupation of Italy. Grush alleged that Pope Pius VII, or 12th rather, had back-chained knowledge of the UFO to the U.S., which ended up scooping it up from them. When they asked explicitly whether he was saying the Catholic Church knew about the existence of alien life, Grush responded, "Certainly." There you go. One more proof. Now, this is an article from 2023, but really they've been aware of non-human activity since the 1930s. Okay, so keep in mind the Catholic Church has a reason for their Lucifer telescope. They do. Okay, you can read this for yourself. You can pause it if you want to. These are citations from Jeremiah 7, talking about the Queen of Heaven. I'd like you to be aware that basically God's opinion is that the Israelites were provoking him with these other gods, provoking themselves to their own ruin, really. And so the Queen of Heaven, again, from Jeremiah 44, and then a little bit more from Jeremiah 44, they were fulfilling vows to the Queen of Heaven. It doesn't change. It goes from Babylon right through to Israel and then on to our time, as the Pope is going to push the Queen of Heaven onto us, and strange apparitions as we move forward. You can pause it and read it if you want to. This is something also where you can pause and read if you want to. But once again, the Queen of Heaven, from Israel my glory, the Babylonians worshipped Ishtar as the Virgin, the Holy Virgin, the Virgin Mother, Goddess of Goddesses, Queen of Heaven and Earth. They claimed Ishtar is great, Ishtar is queen, my lady is exalted, my lady is queen, there's none unto her. Whoa, that was the box on the left-hand side lower. Athaliah, daughter of Ahab and Jezebel, became the wife of King Jehoram in the kingdom of Judah. She influenced him to do what her father had done, fully establish Baal worship in his kingdom. That's 2 Kings 8:16-18. Her son Ahaziah, the next king of Judah, did the same thing. as King Manasseh. Also, these actions would have entangled the people of Judah in Queen of Heaven worship. Thus, God judged them with the Babylonian captivity. We're about due for a captivity because there's so much of this stuff jumping up. So once again, this is Israel, My Glory. It's an interesting article. If you'd like to look it up, you'll have to Google it. I didn't cite it openly. So this is from Wiki. After the Queen of Heaven comes the Spanish flu. So basically what they're saying is right after the apparitions in November of 1917 came the first outbreak of the Spanish flu, infecting 500 million or 1/3 of the world's population. About 50 million died very fast, 675,000 in the US. In late 1917, military pathologists reported the onset of a new disease with high mortality that they later recognized as the flu. It started in the camps, which were also home to live piggery and poultry, as was regularly brought in for food supplies from surrounding villages. Oxford and his team postulated that a significant precursor virus harbored in the birds mutated and then migrated to pigs that were kept near the front, because there were lots of fleas and rats and other things like that. There was death. Okay, it was World War I, trench warfare. So the main thing is the Queen of Heaven popped up right after the death in the Spanish flu. That was 1917, 1918. Or rather, she popped up just before that. Okay, and there were huge events that occurred in 1917. I mean, first of all, the United States declared war on Germany on Passover of 1917. Allenby walked in November, into Jerusalem. It was an amazing year for prophecies, and all of the decree. I'm sorry, Allenby, not Allenby's decree, but it was Rothschild's decree, and so it's just interesting how 1917 was huge. It just was. It just was. Okay, so this is this is from an article from the Journal of Lutheran Ethics. If the ELCA has posted in that, that's even more laughable. Reception key unity topics of ELCA visit to the Vatican. That's back in 2003. So the Pope has been trying to unify for years. That's 2003, before Pope Francis. But now Pope Francis, as soon as he got on board, this is from 2014, on the right-hand side, he found this little-known guy named Tony Palmer, and he tried to get Tony Palmer to finagle other evangelical leaders to come over and meet with him and basically kiss his ring. But the problem is, we need unity behind Yeshua, not unity behind the Pope. Okay? So within months after this, yes, Palmer succeeded in getting evangelical leaders over. Some of them are now defrocked. But anyway, Palmer was out on his motorcycle and died right after that. Just interesting. When you get involved in these types of things, your protection drops. So the Pope, once again, is saying, we're supposed to, that all of these things are passed to God. Well, this is from Taylor Marshall. He's a brilliant man. He's a Catholic theologian. He says, Pope Francis, Hinduism leads you to God. Meanwhile, Hinduism has, Shiva, the goddess of death, Every religion is a way to arrive at God. No. There is no way that Shiva is a way to God. No way. No way. And this is Rich Raho. Pope Francis on U.S. election are against life. The one that throws out migrants and the one that kills children, both are against life. I can't decide, but let it be clear. Denying migrants the ability to work and receive hospitality is a sin, a grave sin. Okay, we know where he stands. This is from Michael Haynes, who I follow on Twitter. Brilliant man. Anthony Stein, brilliant again on YouTube. And Taylor Marshall again. All three of these men. On the left-hand side, Pope Francis on interreligious dialogue. Every religion is a way to arrive at God. There are different languages to arrive at God, but God is God for all. But my God is more important than your God. Is that true? There is only one God, that each of us has a language to arrive at. Okay, no. Every religion, Michael Haynes again, this is explicitly heresy of religious indifferentism. If we deny Christ, he will deny us. He cannot deny himself. And okay, so that's Bishop Strickland and the one true church established by Christ. Okay, so basically, the regular guys like us, they're smart. They're PhDs in many cases. They understand what's going on, but the Pope is leading them down a dark way. So they'd like to get rid of him. So basically, this is from Israel 365 News. Pope visits large Muslim nation, signing the end of days Ishmael alliance against Israel. And so Esau went to Ishmael and took a wife. Yeah, that's from Genesis 28:9. So Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz, who is a friend of mine, published this on September 10th of 2024. He knows it. He's been talking about it. It seems odd to a Jew to see this weird connection between the Pope and between the Muslims. Very odd. So on the right-hand side, since ascending to the papacy in 2013, Pope Francis has worked openly to unite Esau and Ishmael by enhancing Christian-Muslim relations. This alliance implicitly threatens Israel, the spiritual descent of their mutual biblical nemesis. In 2019, Francis and Mohammed VI, King of Morocco, signed a statement about Jerusalem, referring to the Israel's capital as Al-Quds, Al-Harif, the Arabic name for Jerusalem, minimizing the distinctive relationship between Jerusalem and the Jewish people. According to Rabbi Yechiel Weitzman, author of The Ishmaelite Exile, the alliance of Christians and Muslims was predicted hundreds of years ago and is a sign of the end times. The last stage of the process of Israel's perfection will be characterized by the alliance between Ishmael and Esau, in an alliance aimed at tormenting the entire world and the Jewish people in particular. Interesting. It's prophetic. Once again, this is from Rare Foundation, and their articles are interesting. Pope Francis, a dangerous advocate for open borders at the cost of Europe's Christian heritage. Pope Francis has once again positioned himself as a staunch advocate for open borders, declaring in a recent, and that includes UFOs too, he's open on that border too. Rejecting migrants is a serious sin. It must be said clearly, there are those who work systematically and with every means possible to repel migrants. This is a grave sin. So he wants open borders. That's what he stands for. But this does threaten to undermine Europe's Christian heritage and sovereignty and the survival of the Christian identity. It does. And so Rare is correct on that. This is from Breitbart. This is from 2024. Pope Francis, turning away migrants is a grave sin. So once again, he's been open on borders the whole way through. Immigration laws should not be made stricter, but rather looser, allow more immigrants to cross international borders. The Catholic Church does receive funds from governments to be able to fund migration. They just do. And so they run it through Catholic charities. Rather than more restrictive laws and the militarization of borders, what is needed is an expansion of secure and regular means of access, which will destroy your country because it costs so much and it just causes crime and other things like that. You need legal immigration, not illegal, not open borders. So basically, God shares the drama of migrants. God is with them, with migrants. He suffers with them, with migrants. He weeps and hopes with them, with migrants. He insisted, not with those who turn them away. So that's Pope Francis speaking, and this is from 2024. Grave sin. And then he's also justifying strange relationships, sexual relationships. Pope Francis allows priests to bless same-sex couples. Blech. So I have many good Catholic friends, and they're saying, no, this is actually the case. Well, this is from the New York Times. This is 2024, and he is authorizing this. And this is from also from 2023. The Vatican said Monday that Pope Francis has allowed priests to bless same-sex couples. So basically more welcome to LGBT, whatever, the alphabet. Okay, and this is a problem. So this is Africa News down below. Blessing of same-sex couples. Case in Africa is special, says Pope. So he doesn't push it in Africa because it won't fly down there. Okay, so this within Protestant circles, you're seeing certain horrible sexual activities being blessed by Protestant pastors. Well, the Catholics are doing this too. So this is Cardinal Fernandez. He's abhorrent. And he, here on the right-hand side in pink, mystical passion, spirituality, and sensuality. 26-year-old work includes graphic descriptions of human sexual relations, a mystical orgasm. Yeah, this is your Argentinian guy, and this is from CNA. Once again, it's just sickening, okay, based on spiritual experience disclosed to him by a 16-year-old girl. It's sickening, disgusting. Okay, schism. Basically, this is Vigano. I love Archbishop Vigano. He has been pushing for months that you need a schism from the Pope because he's pushing so much. A rupture of communion with him and rejection of the Second Vatican Council. Okay, interesting. So that's Vigano, good guy from LifeSite, so it's trustworthy. Okay. Then another article, this is from the Burning Platform, saying, Vigano, reject Soros, Schwab, Gates. We need an anti-globalist alliance. Okay? And so on the right-hand side then, Archbishop Vigano addressed the event in Moscow as a live video and took sharp aim at globalists such as Soros, Schwab, and Gates. We need an anti-globalist alliance that returns to the citizens the power that has been taken from them, and to nations the sovereignty eroded and ceded to the Davos lobby. Meanwhile, he warned against the globalist schemes such as their woke ideology, the Great Reset, and Agenda 2030. Vigano's nailing it. I mean, he's correct on every single point. The victory belongs to Christ and those who align themselves under the holy banner of the cross. Okay, so they thought, Vigano and others thought that they could oust the false prophet, or Pope Francis. So Vatican conservatives are plotting a secret plan to oust Pope Francis, report from January 9th of 2023. So basically, they've been thinking we can get rid of him. Well, it didn't happen. So this is on the left-hand side, Anthony Stein saying he's a heretical pope. We can get rid of him. We know your own doubts about the lawfulness of certain statements already made and officially made public on the subject of family, abortion, homosexuality, synodality, the gospel Eucharist, and repudiation of all heresy. We also know how your and others' attempts at formal and filial correction aimed at rectifying or retracting the most scandalous hierarchical pronouncements that have fallen on deaf ears. Okay, so here's the problem. On the lower right-hand side, look at this. This is from the AP, Nicole Winfield, from July 5th of 2024. The Pope kicked out Vigano. He's out. Vatican excommunicates former ambassador to the U.S. and declares him guilty of schism. So Vigano excommunicated, and I wonder what they're going to do to Stein and Taylor Marshall and other good guys. So this is Return to Tradition, which is Anthony Stein. It's a good publication. He does a good job. I'm not Catholic, but I like what he's doing. Okay. Once again, one more rare article. Muslim migrant politician desecrates holy Christian symbols, exposing Islam's war on Christianity while Europe bows in surrender. Yeah. So the problem is, if you give up on God and you give up on your nationality and you give up on your faith, especially, people will come in and take over. And that's what's occurring. So there will be more persecution. So what I'm saying is, as Pope Francis goes further to the left, he will actually provoke more persecution against believers. Nigeria is already being hit hard. Pakistan's already hitting believers there. Christianity is under siege, yet the West remains silent, paralyzed by political correctness and an unwillingness to confront the Islamic aggression festering within its borders. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is that the Greek Orthodox and the Roman Catholic Church are trying to come back together again. I'm arguing that if you read Daniel 8, you'll see there's a ram with two horns and a shaggy goat. The shaggy goat seems to be the beast system, the Antichrist. I can't give you the exact Hebrew situation there, but it makes sense in the Hebrew too. The two horns, I'm arguing that's Pope Francis, and that's going to be as he moves the Roman Catholic Church into Mystery Babylon, in part. Okay, and so what's basically they're trying to push through. So this is May 14th of 2024. Is that the Greek Church will be working harder to come back together again with the Roman Catholic Church. And that seems to be eschatological, people, okay? So reading down below in the blue, Easter 2025 will be particularly significant, marking the 1700th anniversary of the First Council of Nicaea in 325. I'm saying that's a bad thing. That's when they kicked all the Jews out. They kicked out the Sabbath keepers and the festival keepers, which are God's festivals, things like that, when both Eastern and Western Christianity were in full harmony. So the problem is that's not good for God's festivals, his Sabbath, and other things like that. But if they want to unite again, they can. I love my Greek Orthodox friends. They're wonderful people. But if their leaders want to pull together with Pope Francis, then it's two horns on the ram and the shaggy goat coming together. I'm arguing that's Daniel 8. Okay? Because at some point in time, it's only the Antichrist system. So now we're into the lightning section. So once again, the chief parts that I'm trying to talk about are Mary, which is the Queen of Heaven, Mary, part of Mystery Babylon, then also UFOs, then signs, Semyon, lightning, which we're covering now, then open borders and green tactics and things like that, and then sexual sins. Those are the big things. and syncretizing. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get you to unify, and lightning will be a sign of that, where you'll believe that the Pope has control over this. So basically, what we're seeing is certain idols are falling. Now, this is interesting. This is a Saudi storm brings lightning, fierce winds to Mecca from August 23rd of 2023. So that might have been ground to cloud lightning. It looks like it because it branches up. Yeah, that's probably the case because I know more about that. So then on the other side, on the right-hand side, lightning strike destroys Touchdown Jesus statue in Ohio. And that was, here it is, 2010. So it's a long time ago, but that's an idol, and it has to be destroyed. And it was destroyed by a lightning strike. So that's 6-story height of Jesus, and it was destroyed. Very interesting. Okay, so these things need to come down, and God's bringing them down. They're idols. Okay, so once again, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. So this is Rio de Janeiro, lightning striking Christ, I'm blanking on what it's called again, Christ statue. Strikes, yeah, the Christ statue. And it's just interesting how, lightning striking. Then this is once again ground to cloud. This was from 2024, right around the time of April 8th. Okay, photographer snaps stunning images of lightning striking the Statue of Liberty. That is probably Mary Queen of Heaven. Okay, it's not good, but once again, it's ground to cloud lightning. Again, the ground is getting active. So on the right-hand side, Pope Benedict the 16th announced his resignation on the 10th, 11th of February 2013, and St. Peter's Basilica was struck by 2 lightning strikes on that day. This year, on the anniversary of his resignation, Christ the Redeemer got struck by lightning again. Very interesting. Okay, more lightning. This is once again February 11th in 2013. You can see the lightning strikes. Lightning bolt hit, but twice, hours after Pope's shocking resignation. So I want to cite down below, Ben Franklin came up with the concept of lightning rods and things like that, but people didn't believe him. They thought he was a pagan. So churches burned down frequently because they wouldn't install lightning rods, and we've known about it since 1769. So just keep that in mind. There's a certain bit of paganism. So I saw Satan fall again like lightning. This is interesting. This is confirmed. New evidence proves God used lightning to rebuke Francis. This is Buenos Aires, which he's from Argentina and that area. His birthday is December 17th of 2023, and lightning struck his, let's see here, lightning destroyed key, hand of St. Peter statue in Argentina on Pope Francis' birthday. Very interesting. Okay, so once again, on his birthday, this is LifeSite again, and it's the Ponto Institute of Catholic Vote confirmed lightning strike blasted off, and a statue of St. Peter north of Buenos Aires. Okay, so it's just interesting. He blasted off the keys, blasted the right hand. The halo was already off in 2018, but this is during the time that Pope Francis was endorsing homosexual blessings. So Anthony Stein again clarified on Monday that the keys have been, the halo have been blasted off or missing since 2018. So it's just interesting though. So once again, key gone, halo gone, hand blasted, right hand. So let's read the verses. I will also tell you this: you are Kepha, which means rock, and on this rock I will build my community, and the gates of Sheol, hell, will not overcome you. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you prohibit on earth will be prohibited in heaven. Whatever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven. That's Matthew 16:18 through 19. How can we sing a song about Adonai here on a foreign soil? If I forget you, Jerusalem, may my right hand wither away. I'm arguing the Pope is forgetting his Jerusalem. May the tongue stick to the roof of my mouth, if I fail to count Jerusalem in the greatest of my joys. Psalm 137. Very interesting. So now let's finally read the verses. I tend to read these later so I can keep you on the video as long as possible. People hate it when I just sit here and read. So this is Revelation 13:11 through 18 about the false prophet. Then I saw another beast. I'm arguing that's the false prophet, coming up out of the earth, and he's a human. It had 2 horns like those of a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast the Antichrist, in its presence, and it makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, the one whose fatal wound had been healed. It performs great miracles, even causing fire to come down from heaven onto the earth as people watch. It deceives the people living on the earth by the miracles it was allowed to perform in the presence of the beast, and it tells them to make an image honoring the beast that was struck by the sword, became alive again. It was allowed to put breath into the image of the beast so that the image of the beast could even speak, and it was allowed to cause anyone who would not worship the image of the beast to be put to death. It forces everyone, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, preventing anyone from buying or selling unless he has the mark. That is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This is where wisdom is needed. Those who understand should count the number of the beast, for it is the number of the person, and its number is 666. Okay, so is Pope Francis, Petrus Romanus, the false prophet? The book from Tom Horn and Chris Putnam. They're both dead now. Chris was a friend. I never met Tom. So basically, these guys and their Skywatch publications have been talking about this for years. On the right-hand side, right below the reddish arrow, another influential Catholic television network director named Jose Galat is even publicly claiming that Pope Francis is the false prophet, who he says is paving the way for the Antichrist. He claims the real Pope is Benedict XVI, who is now dead, somehow forced to resign in 2013. And so he's arguing that Francis was elected by a mafia of cardinals, argues agreeing with those other than Catholics see the conspiracy behind the first ever Jesuit Pope. Okay, so it's just interesting. That's what they're publishing. Very interesting. Once again, Pope Francis, the Vatican, aliens, government elites. It's all a coincidence. That's from Tom Horn. Chris Putnam, now Derek Gilbert, he's still alive. Is the Vatican connected to the coming Great Deception? Part 3, VAT, Giants, Hybrids, Lucifers, Light Spectrum, whatever, from Skywatch. So very interesting. I mean, I don't watch them as much anymore because Tom Horn's dead. But they've made some good points over the years. I want to show you a few interesting things because I'm going late anyway. This is Jesus as he resurrects in the Vatican. It's alien looking. It's Moloch looking. Okay, it's creepypasta. It's Baphomet worship. Okay, this is Jesus resurrecting. Again, a different scene of it. The Pope in front. That's Benedict there. The resurrection. Pope's intriguingly sinister sculpture from laserhorse.org. It's creepy. It's just creepy. During the construction, the fumes produced by burning plastic gave Fazzini, the guy that built it, a blood clot, and that's not good. Okay, so the snake look. Snake head in the Vatican, so there's the Pope speaking there, and you've got that weird snake head going on. It's creepypasta, people. A room looks like a snake's head. Yep, it does. And then, once again, the Malachi, St. Malachi produced this 112 Popes treatise. He's arguing, basically, that Pope Francis is the false prophet, and he would be the 112th. But Pope Francis needs to get going and get it done. Malachi Martin basically argued something like that, saying that Satan had worked his way into the Vatican and controlled certain popes or certain leaders, and especially this pope. So just interesting. We'll see if it works out that way. The phrase from St. Malachi is, Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city on 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. The end. So we know Gog is probably Obama, and he's part of this. We know Peter the Roman seems to be the Pope if he steps forward and takes the job. We also know that it's going to be interesting to watch these things change. The Antichrist, I won't name who he is. I have a guess. Last slide. Birth pangs since 2012 are increasing. 3 of 2012, Pope Benedict XVI announces it privately. Summer of 2012, the third seal opens based on my information from 2 sources. 3:13, again, there's your 13 of 2013, Pope Francis, the false prophet, takes power. Then you have the blood moon eclipses of 2014 and 2015 on the festival days. Passover, Sukkot. 9 of 2015, we hear from Natan, the little Jewish boy, with his near-death experience, that Obama is Gog. 2017 seems to be a Shemitah year. That would argue then that 2024 is a Shemitah year. Jerusalem was declared the capital of Israel in 2017 by Trump. 2018, not much. 2019, Obama at the Pergamum Museum on Nissan 1. Notre Dame burns on Nissan 10. Very interesting. 2020, Jimmy Jabbers. Lockdowns, King Trump loses, Biden steps in 2021. Pope Francis goes to Shinar in Babylon, which is very interesting. Then 2022 or 2023, I'm arguing things are starting to happen. Pope Francis is moving faster in 2024, but I think he'll become the false prophet in 2025. Is that the Jubilee year? I don't know. We'll find out. So we're in the birth pangs. We're not in the tribulation. We're not in the Great Tribulation. The Pope Francis is trying to unify people. He's trying to syncretize people into Mary, into UFOs, and they will be more popular over time. In these signs, in lightning, in open borders and greenie deals and other sexual sins and things like that. We're not there yet. We're just in the birth pangs. You need to worry about you, which is clean garments. What garments will you wear? It's a wedding on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Sukkot during some future year. Work on getting your garments clean and making sure that you have garments. Thank you very much for your time. This was a long video, but I haven't talked about Pope Francis in 3 years, so God bless. We'll see you in another week. God bless. Bye.